Happy Groundhog Day. So many of you have probably seen the film with Bill Murray where he keeps repeating the day over and over again. And it's kind of funny because I also heard about Lucy the lobster. And I posted the video on my personal Facebook page. I hadn't heard of Lucy the lobster as predicting whether we're going to continue with winter or not. And it's kind of interesting because Groundhog Day is a great metaphor for our lives and those patterns that we repeat over and over again. And they come from our temperament, how we're born, ways that we see the world, and then those childhood patterns that get created. And often, we can change jobs, we can change relationships, and those patterns are still there. There's a vibrational frequency, there's a pattern, and we need ways to be able to see them and bring that awareness in, because we all have blind spots. We move it up and we keep doing it, and we think the way to actually get out of it is to do it more, which is actually the opposite of what we need to do. So we can't change anything without having the awareness. And there's many different awareness practices out there. And for myself, I really help people understand and gain that awareness in different ways. So one is through the motivational map, which helps us to bring those invisible motivators forward and help us to see where those internal conflicts might be and what we focus on, what gives us energy, and maybe some of the patterns where we avoid certain things and certain types of people because their motivators are different from ours. And we don't understand why. It doesn't feel good. We just know that I don't maybe like hanging out with that person, or I tend to have more tension with that person at work. So that's one step in having that kind of bigger viewpoint of where those tensions might be, both internally and externally with others. And then with the Enneagram, we can look at those patterns in a different way and see what are those kind of autopilot kind of things that we do, and what are those tendencies that we have, and not making ourselves wrong. I think this is part of everything that we need to do to bring ourselves into alignment, is to learn to let go of the shame or the blame or whatever it is, whatever that emotion is, to allow ourselves to see that we're human, that we all do this just in slightly different ways with different flavors. And so there's ways that we can work with that. And part of that is a presence practice where we're getting ourselves more present in the moment and doing breathing into our three centers, our intelligence centers, which is the body or gut and the heart and the head. And bringing those patterns forward to look at them and have a little bit of distance from them. And I also do shadow work. So we go a little bit deeper into having a dialogue with those parts of ourselves. Often it's a wounded part of ourselves that really wants something else or is attempting to get something in a different way than directly, because directly doesn't feel safe. And so there's a way to kind of look at those either or places, or those different parts that feel in opposition, and have them actually dialogue with each other so we can integrate those parts of ourselves. And then with the meditational and energy healing work I teach, you actually shift vibration to bring more of those unconscious patterns forward, so that you can actually find ways to address some of those patterns and shift them energetically, because we all have different ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and find that deeper connection with that spirit part of self and that universal knowledge that we need to bring in. And the Enneagram helps us with that as well. And you actually shift vibrationally in the class over the 4 classes. And it's a very powerful system. I found it after dealing with cancer and really continue to enjoy it over 20 years later and love teaching it. And the tools are really helpful: dream interpretation, understanding intention of others, learning to access what your gift is in how you bring in information, whether you might be a bit sighted, maybe the audio, like for me, clairaudient, I tend to hear words, tones, these kinds of things. The feeling, a lot of people are very clairsentient, right? And we talk a lot about empaths these days, and people attempt different things to work with that. And people feel there's something wrong with them, and it's not, right? We have different ways. Even people have smells that come up from memories that help them to interpret information. So understanding your system and then tools to actually work with the information and interpret it so you can use that to your benefit and your healing process. Because we're always a work in progress. It doesn't matter our age, and that is part of life. So many of us want to go from A to B, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to be fixed or better or enlightened, whatever it is. And it is an ongoing process. And I get a question from people a lot about meditation, about getting back to a specific feeling or way they were in a particular meditation. And again, it's that place of not being content with where we are and being present to what's going on. Because yes, I can have this amazing mystical experience in the moment, and the next time, maybe I'm not so connected, I'm feeling other things are happening, and being okay with that, right? Because again, it's that achieving, it's all about the achieving, and it has to be a certain way so I can achieve that, rather than being present to what's going on and knowing it's all good, that I'm connecting with myself and with that universal knowledge. And when I can sit with that and be present, then more information comes in. I can feel more relaxed, and I'm not judging myself or blaming myself for not being in a specific state that I want. Because the more we pursue it, the less we're going to achieve it, because we're not present to what's going on. So happy Groundhog Day. If you need any support with anything, you can book a complimentary call, a clarity call, to see if I can support you in some way, or if there's a resource I can refer you to. Bye for now.